Good morning. It is Saturday, the 28th of September, 2019, and welcome to this episode of Code Evolution. So today I wanted to go over the new System.Text.Json package that's been released by Microsoft. It's something that I've been using in the last week. And before I start, I want to actually give a huge thanks to, which I think maybe most of you know, or I'm guessing most of you know, Newtonsoft has been around for a very long time, and I think without it, we'd be in kind of trouble. So I definitely don't want them to, lose out on this. I think, they've been the answer to a lot of our woes up until now, and I don't think they're out of the game yet. I think they're probably going to take the existing package that people are familiar with, and are probably going to integrate a lot of the performance benefits that come along with the current System.Text.Json namespace. We might, I don't know what their plans are, but I think there's some work being done there. In the meanwhile, if you're trying to convert over to using the new package from Microsoft, the good news is it's really efficient. It's super fast and super memory efficient. So it's really on the edge of what's possible. It's anything being done in .NET Core 3, the performance benefits are significant. But you can also use the System.Text.Json namespace in .NET Standard as of today as well. So if you're trying to get your applications ready for .NET Core 3, this might be one of the points that you can start attacking. For me, this is something I've done this week, and it's been a mixed bag. So I wanted to do this video to kind of help people understand that the namespace, the System.Text.Json namespace, is not true parity with Newtonsoft. Newtonsoft's JSON serializers, they're a bit forgiving. This one is not forgiving out of the box. It's pretty strict, which is kind of cool. There's some good things about that, and I'm not giving it flack for it. But people should be ready for being, why isn't it working, or why is it throwing an error because it doesn't like this or doesn't like that. So to kind of review, I wanted to kind of set up, just kind of review some of the key things that you have to know when you start to port over to the new namespace. So first thing is, I just kind of set up a little Poco class here just to kind of, set something up that's a little bit scrambled that could represent JSON. The next thing I want to do here, and then again, you're going to need to import the System.Text.Json namespace. You'll probably need to add the package as well and to get this working in, say, like VS Code. In this case, I'm currently doing a 2.2 app, as for some reason I can't get the .NET Core 3 to work appropriately with VS Code at the moment. So what I'm doing here is we're going to go and create a new line, and we'll minimize this here. And so the idea is to say, okay, let's say I want to serialize this class. So I'm going to say var, s equals JSON Serializer, okay, and then serialize, pretty straightforward, and then obj, okay, and then there we go. Now, what's going to happen with this here is this is with the default settings, okay? And the default settings are, again, pretty strict. So you're going to get case sensitive. So it's going to be, if in these cases here, these are going to be all uppercase letters. And that's what you can expect. I'm not sure, actually, now that I think about it, I think the properties are uppercased. I'm not 100% sure if the dictionary, of course, in that dictionary will be honored by their strings as well. Now, there are settings to change that. So if you wanted camel case and if you wanted case insensitivity, you can change that. But out of the box, it's super strict. So if you're serializing using JSON Serializer and then deserializing using it, you're not going to see any issues. But if you already had some pre-serialized JSON or coming from another source, you're probably going to see some trouble when dealing with this. Now, I haven't covered it here, but you may be familiar with annotations, right, for different properties. So you can do JSON, I think JSON something name. I think JSON, it's really similar to the other one. I forgot off the bat what the actual attribute is. I'm pretty sure that the answer to this is by importing the serialization namespace. We're going to get part of our thing here, JSON property name. There we go. And then you can specify app, like alpha. All right. So, or, be more specific in lowercase alpha, right? So what I'm getting at here is there are parity for these kind of things, which is great. So if you want to do specific overrides, you can, and then it will obey those, that letter convention. But in the meanwhile, it will not lowercase these letters without some sort of specificity, or you've changed the settings. So going back again, just kind of reviewing what the other things here. Let's say var obj 2 equals JSON Serializer dot deserialize, and then we can say my poco again, and then obviously s, and you're going to get your what you expect. But keep in mind, here's where the rubber really meets the road. Is what you want is a more forgiving, deserializer, and then you care about your serialization, right? So what if this was serialized by a different, or coming from a different location or something like that? Well, so then what you want to do, you can use your new JSON serialization or JSON Serializer options. Okay, in Newtonsoft, it's settings, so a little bit different. But let's review what this is, and this is the really important part of this video. Okay, so JSON Serializer options has some really important stuff, right? Like in this case, some simple things like allow trailing commas. All right, I don't know very many people that do that, but let's say, for example, you had a JSON serialization that came with commas in it. You're going to want to set this to true, right? So the serializer doesn't throw when it sees a comma that's not supposed to be there. I haven't messed at all with the default buffer size, but there might be some reasons why you might want to do that. The encoder, this is an important one. So if you want your output to be camel cased, you're going to need to set this. So in this case, if we go back to our program, right, if we wanted the output to be, let's say, we'll say camel cased, okay, or sorry, this is what we were trying to get off here was, hey, we could say that it's case insensitive, right? So you can do, what is it, case sensitive equals true. Okay, so you want to do that if you're going to want to deserialize, but let's look at if we wanted to serialize this and do it camel case, right? What we need to do is do our JSON Serializer options again. And then what you're going to want to do is we'll say that the encoder equals JSON, or sorry, it's JavaScript encoding, I think it is. Let's see if it'll import that. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Okay, I hate that. Let's see here. I'm trying to remember where this is at. So what we're going to do, when I get lost like this, I'll go to the definition again, and we'll look at encoding. And yeah, you'll see it's actually JavaScript encoder. Sorry. And JavaScript encoder will import the encodings, right? And then we're going to say that okay, so this is another one that I've run into. So I'm getting a little bit confused here, but the point is that there's if you are trying to create true parity, typically speaking, Newtonsoft out of the box will actually have a more relaxed encoding. So this is one of the settings you can consider when you're encoding to something to create it exactly the same. But the other one is camel case. I think is it a property camel casing. There we go. Or property. Where is this? I'm getting lost. I apologize, but I'm trying to get there. I don't want to make this video too long. Let's keep going here. So the encoder reviewing, what the encoder is doing is it gives you an option to say, hey, do you want to do something different specifically in how you're encoding? And as you saw here, if we go to definition, you'll see that it comes with a use unsafe relaxed JSON escaping, which basically everything is typically Unicode. In UTF-8 with the JSON encoding. So if you switch to this, you'll get things like the I think it's the apostrophe, for example, will not be Unicode encoded. And so let's get out of here and go back to our options again, just to kind of review. Again, we have the encoder, dictionary, key policy. So that's what I was getting at. If you want to have it so that your properties are, if you want to do camel casing, right? So then you're going to say, property naming policy. There we go. And then JSON naming policy, camel case. that's how you want to actually get. If you want to have a serializer that does camel casing, this is one thing to consider. Now, for me, I spent a lot of time like kind of setting up some defaults or a factory to generate these kind of default settings, which you probably will do. I don't know what their plans are with the library to kind of simplify this down. I'm guessing they're going to let people kind of do their own thing with this. But for now, these are like the important things to keep in mind when you're doing that. So this here is a perfect example of if I wanted to generate camel cased JSON that could be read without any issue. Pretty much, here it is as well. I'm pretty sure that if you used a property naming policy and you did this, you'd get you could probably get rid of this as well. But I kind of find that what I've been doing is to be really relaxed. I do it this way. So I don't want to drag this on. I think that's kind of just really wanted to give you guys an introduction to that they are different. If you guys run into issues, you're going to find that you're probably going to need to really inspect these settings or these options. Again, we'll do a quick one. Obviously, this one is if you want to ignore null values, is it necessary to worry about that on the way in or the deserialization of it? Probably not. Is it important to note when you're serializing? Probably yes. If you want to clean this up. So I haven't had to set this at all. I don't see the point for the most part. But if you run into trouble, keep that in mind that you can set that. I haven't had any issues or reason to use max depth yet. Property naming policy I have set, but I haven't set the dictionary naming policy. I have used this. I haven't had the reason to use this. Right indented is kind of an obvious one. It's kind of nice. It's just a Boolean. It's not a special enum or anything. So you just set it to true. Converters, I have spent quite a bit of time on. What's going on is you're going to probably run into an issue until 3.1 is released, where they aren't properly deserializing nullable values. There's still a hang up there, but in the meanwhile, that'll get over. But this actually works pretty good. You just add a converter, and whatever the first converter that was added is what gets used or overridden by what you added. So keep that in mind. And then there's a get converter method, which would get the actively used converter for that type. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this helps, guys. I struggled quite a bit this week, kind of getting some projects up to date using this, but I'm very happy to say that seeing a lot of the Newtonsoft dependencies disappear. Again, not hating on Newtonsoft. Thank you, Newtonsoft. Just saying that there are cases where it's kind of nice to kind of use this and you get a lot of the performance benefits as well as to kind of clean up some of the dependencies that happen with Newtonsoft. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You guys have a great day and happy coding.